Hello everyone, today we're going to be talking about the upcoming Aquarius Cup, which is a Tokyo Dirt 1600 meters champions meet. If you have played previous Mao CMs, I want you to treat this Dirt CM exactly like a Mao CM. Late surgers gamble very hard in order to go and win, while the front runners are just very powerful and consistent, and they use their angling and scheming plus their big gap widening fighting among each other at the start in order to make sure that they win these kinds of CMs. So they are the more consistent ones to go and run. Right? The only difference between a mouse CM and this kind of dirt CM is simply the dirt requirement. So because of the big requirement sometimes for the dirt to be satisfied, you will find that a lot of the other horses for mouse would tend to not appear in these kinds of dirt CMs, because while you are trying to get the dirt spark, you also need to try to get the mouse spark. If you cannot get both of them, then it's going to be pretty tough for you to try to take the win over here, right? For the track properties for this CM, take note it is a left-handed dirt track and the conditions are firm, winter and sunny. This is very important for your front runners or pace chaser players if you're looking to make your horses strong in order to make sure they get their angling and scheming, or Victoria Paw Plancha, because both of these are the slightly relevant uniques for this CM. And for accelerations, we are mostly looking at the corner stuff, as the acceleration zone has an excellent final corner acceleration area, while there is also a not so terrible decent straight line acceleration area with an uphill as well at the start of the final straight. Since this is a dirt mouse CM, I really could just invest a lot of time to front runners and get a good win rate here, but I could also just run 2 to 3 times with late surgers and just gamble my way into a final so that I can spend my time in this game right here. This game has just launched a new themed crossover with an iconic gaming franchise. If you download now using my link and log in for 7 days, you will have an opportunity to take part in this limited time crossover event and unlock exclusive legendary champion inspired by this franchise. It's time sensitive, so do not miss out on your chance. On top of that, Ultimate Death Knight is back. Yes, the ultimate one, not his awkward little brother, the regular Death Knight. And you can actually get him for free right now with the promo code UDKING, but only if you are a new player. And the best part, he's also a free legendary. In Raid, that basically never ever happens. So please do not miss this opportunity. Download Raid through my link or QR code, use promo code UDKING, and claim Ultimate Death Knight before he disappears again. Trust me, you'll thank me later. What I love about Raid is that the team building is pretty deep for a hero collector game, and the team composition is very important depending on whether you're tackling PvE or PvP content. Raid has an endless amount of content and they keep adding new content all the time. The graphics are pretty nice, and I mentioned that this game also has autoplay built into it. During dailies is actually so much easier in this game. Wow, I wish Umamusume Global had that right now. Click my link in the description or scan my QR code to get amazing bonuses available only via my link. You can instantly unlock a huge starter pack with legendary Karato Foxhunter from the Shadowkin faction, reach level 15 to get an amazing epic Tagoar from the Orc faction, and furthermore, new players can pick 1 out of 6 promo codes for a free legendary champion of their choice. These champions are available after downloading via my custom link or QR only within 48 hours after downloading with my link. If you go directly to the app stores or use any other link to download, you will not get these packages that the Raid team has given to me. So make sure to download with the link and then use the promo code in the game. Right, now back to the tier list. For parents, this actually means that the classic corner stuff is going to be available to you. So if you played any of the corner CMs, you roughly know what you're looking for. The exception is Taiki Shuttle. Taiki Shuttle, her unique when you inherit it, if it activates at the earliest possible point, it is just too short. So it's not going to be able to give you a significant amount of acceleration. If you wanted to give you something, you will need to delay it a little bit if you can. Right? Angling and Scheming, Pump Some Iron, Shadow Break are the other amazing uniques, and they will work as intended on this Champions Meet. They activate at the first corner, so it's going to be at the final corner, so it's going to be very good. Shadow Break is not an excel skill, but because it is a final corner speed skill, it can potentially give you a speed carryover. Not all the time, but on the times that it does, it's going to be very significant, because it can even give you a 0.25 speed carryover, which is very powerful. You can also use Victoria Paw Plancha, and you can also use Give Mommy a Hug if you wanted to go and use them for the straight line accelerations. This is mostly because for the front runners, you can't really find any other XLs, you can't really find any other speed skills either as a front runner. So Paw Plancha and Give Mommy a Hug might be your only other options, in which case that is perfectly fine. It's just that it's a little bit more delayed, so it's not the best options, but you can go ahead and use them if you got nothing else at all. Right? So another one to talk about is going to be Marzenski's Red Shift. This really activates too early on the track, so only delayed activations will be available for this horse over here. You will need to put this unique on late surgers and closers. Even on Maru herself, you must run her as a late surger and closer if you want to get big value from this Red Shift unique over over here. The rest of the uniques are going to be mostly finishing speed skills such as Oguri, Triumphant Pulse, Fuji Lights of Vaudeville, or just decent mid-leg speed skills such as McQueen's Duty of Dignity Calls. There are some other ones, so if you have those in mind, feel free to use them, otherwise don't bother using them. Right? For stat thresholds for this track, we have the speed and stamina bonus, so try to get 601 stamina at least, and of course max your speed as per usual. Right? It can be lower if you rely on the great mood to get you to 601 stamina, so it can be like 590 stamina and that will still get you to 601 just by getting a good or great mood later on. Right? Just go based on what your gut tells you. Okay, like any other mouse CM, the Dirt CM wants you to get speed, power, wit, and a little bit of guts. As long as you hit the bare minimum stamina requirement, you are basically good to go. But the bare minimum for you might not be the bare minimum for another person. Take note, I have given the stamina here as ranges because I do not know what your acceptable spurt percentage is. So please go to the Umalator or Stamina Calculator website to see what you are willing to go for. So you just go ahead and do based on your own risk assessment for your stamina requirements. So for this section here, I also need to talk about Exoguri and Valentine Bourbon. So for Exoguri, the stamina threshold, you don't have to hit it. You can just be very low. And then you just buy a bunch of recoveries, and then as long as the calculator tells you that it's fine, you're fine, right? Because Oguri can get away with the most ridiculous stamina because you need to buy 3 to 4 recoveries anyway. So that's one of the benefits of Exoguri. You dump the stam, you pump the int, and you pump the POW. Just pump your wit, pump your POW as high as possible for this CM in particular, right? If you can. Okay, Exoguri has the privilege of doing that. How about Valentine Bourbon? Valentine Bourbon also can do it by dumping her stamina. Her unique, the Choco, right, is going to be very, very good in giving her another mid-leg speed skill, but also gives her a recovery. So do take that into account when you're doing your stamina calculation. You can nuke your stamina by quite a bit. The unique is very, very reliable. It's very, very reliable. So you should count V Bourbon's unique into your stamina calculation and go for the lower than required stamina threshold for yourself, right? So that's the benefit of V Bourbon and the benefit of Exoguri for hitting these stat thresholds over here, right? So for aces for this CM, right, I am once again slamming a bunch of horses in the Oshi tier because these horses have trouble getting the dirt sparks required. That means while some of these horses can be decent or even amazing, like Majil Ryan on this CM, holy shit, that's so powerful, right? But how many dirt sparks you need to shove into her to make her work for this CM? It's so damn painful. And remember, you also want to get Mile S if you can. So sacrificing Dirt Sparks in exchange for Mile Sparks can make it so much harder for you to get your Distance S. So that's why it's just dependent on your will to make certain horses for this CM, then you go ahead and do it. If you have no will to do it, just dump a dirt horse inside and call it a day. Because dirt horses are notoriously dry. Really, really dry. Right? So for the tier list, I just rated them as Oshi, and I put a A tier for the horses that have at least some of the sparks required to go and run in the CM, right? So thankfully, this only happens once or twice a year, so we only need to worry about this like once or twice a year, right? The late surger gamblers for a dirt CM in particular are going to be the Gold Cities. Either of them works. El Condor Pasa Fantasy, New Year Urara, OG Maru, Mayano, Oguris, all of these are perfectly fine to play as a gambler for victory, while El Condor Pasa is the only A tier pace and front horse compared to all those late surger gamblers, is because, unfortunately for Pasa, she is fighting the likes of Smart Falcon and in the future, Kopano Riki. She cannot beat them at all because they have mid-leg speed skills and she does not. She is only able to benefit by being in first and second, but the others have skills to make them go to first and second. So it's going to be like very, very difficult for Victoria Poplancha to even get to activate when El Condor is fighting. She will need a crazy amount of mid-leg in order to make her the strongest front horse, even without another mid-leg unique, so that she is able to get first or second so she can activate her Poplancha. Otherwise, she cannot win at all. Right? Suzuka can technically be forced here if you wanted to. If you want to attempt to deny the fronts just by making her all the way in front and then just deny angling and scheming. But with the effort required to do it, because Suzuka also doesn't have the dirt sparks, it might just be better to make her an ace because she also has unrestrained. And in this CM, unrestrained can actually proc. It's not super high chance, but if it does proc, she wins. That's how powerful it is. It's like activating NSM. Right? Unrestrained is a very, very decent gambling option for her. So if you really want to force her here, it's a possible way to make her win, not even joking. Alright, so you can go ahead and try to do it, but good luck with doing it. Alright, Maru and Mayano also require a lot of other sparks, even though I have placed them up here. These horses basically will be run as late surger gamblers most of the time, but Mayano technically can be run as a front runner if you wanted to. And basically, Maru has one of the also worst affinities in terms of other horses, so she also has a much harder time to go and hunt down the sparks required to make her even like a strong late surger or something like that. But even with a G late surger, I've seen some Marus and Skis win also, so it's not impossible. But ideally, if you want to make your Maru solid, you do want to try to shove her with a little bit of late surger sparks, right? So do try your best to get it, but definitely do prioritize Mount S if you can. Okay, for our S tier horses, you can see there is also a crazy amount of front runners, with the exception of Pace Oguri and possibly Pace Taiki Shuttle, and that's because the fronts have unrestrained and angling and scheming for this CM, and if they just make the lead really big, even without gambling unrestrained, they just win the game. Fronts are just disgusting on dirt. Right, the first front runner is going to be Smart Falcon. She is the easiest front runner to build for this CM in terms of her sparks. Her initial dirt and mile is A, so that is the easiest part about her. The rest of the hard part is basically getting the groundwork and the 3 activator skills, because you can't use the Smart Falcon card with her. You have to use something else or just pray for her inheritance. Right? Her unique is also very strong to fight for the front, making her a very solid horse for this Champions Meet. Second one is going to be Summer Marzensky. Her unique is also very strong, and since she wants 1 recovery to activate her unique, you can even go for lowest stamina with her. Right? Just depends on what recovery you bought on her. She has Dirt D for surface attitude, so it's not as good as Smart Falcons, and remember, you also need to go and hunt down your groundwork plus 3 activators, so she's still very annoying to make, but she can definitely win the game also. She's still very powerful for the mid-lane fighting. Next one is going to be Valentine Bourbon. Her unique is very solid and can compete with the other 2 fronts that I've mentioned, especially since the condition is very chill. I believe it's only 1 to 4 positions, so as long as she's somewhere in front, she will just activate it. So she's very versatile and very fine, right? But she has also the worst dirt aptitude of all of them, so good luck with making her for this CM. I know some of you already have the plans to do it, so you can do it. If you can get past this first hurdle of just making her dirt not shit, you can actually use her, because she basically completes herself later, because she has groundwork, she has front savvy, she has concentration, and she has early lead. So if you can get past that hard part at the start, the rest is free. Then you just need to hunt down for some decent front skills, and boom, your V Bourbon will be complete. So you can also use that horse for your third front runner if you really wanted to, right? For the other paces, Taiki Shuttle can activate her unique if it's on herself due to the extra duration, but remember, there's also a ton of fronts. If you've played the mouse CMs, you know that sometimes there's too many fronts, Taiki cannot get in front, no shooting, lose game, right? Or there's too little fronts, then Taiki is too far in front, then no unique, lose game, right? So this is the problem with Taiki Shuttle, and it will still be here, right now. Right, so that's just how it is for Taiki Shuttle here. Depending on what lobby you get, you could either be too far in front to activate shooting, or you could be too far behind to activate shooting. So that's how you have to play Taiki Shuttle. You will gamble the enemy lobby rather than gambling on your team comp in particular. Right, for Pace Oguri, this horse plays largely like a gambler. She prays for a good final corner activation for the Festive Miracle, which will allow her to hit the optimal Speed Excel combo. And the crazy strategy for this Champions Meet is going to be X Oguri for front. If you are willing to hunt down the sparks for it, you can make her unique proc and the hill with Moxie, because Moxie activates when you're going up the hill. This will let you do angling and scheming by being the first X Oguri, and then you activate Festive Miracle for a second boost. Most of the time, this will not happen because there's another front horse that's very powerful, but with the high wit that Oguri sometimes stacks, it's actually sometimes possible to get this combination here. Worst case, you get Festive Miracle into angling and scheming, which is still not absolutely terrible and can actually make her win still, right? So it depends on how willing you are to make this X Oguri over here, but she's also a very insane horse to make for front, right? The requirement to make her for front is so high that I think you don't have to worry so much about this horse, right? But you will see maybe 1 or 2 or 3 of these horses attempted to be made, because some people want to try it. So yeah, just expect that for the Champions Meet. So, right, for the skills we look for, the typical stuff for fronts are, as expected, groundwork, taking the lead if you can, early lead if you cannot, DD and PP, your dodging danger and your prudent positioning, angling and scheming, or even unrestrained, you can grab that, or you can also throw it away and get more mid-leg speed skills. That one is purely up to your decision. Do you want to gamble it or do you not want to gamble it, right? Pacers have nothing much, unfortunately, to say. because pace chasers, they just kind of use Shadow Break, they use something like Speed Star, and they just aim for all the corner stuff. They're looking for possible speed carryovers, and I probably don't want to recommend you angling and scheming on a pacer, because when there are a lot of fronts, angling and scheming is not really available unless you make your pacer into a front runner, and then you fight them, and then you go into the front. So something like Taiki Shuttle will be available for that strategy. A lot of the other pacers, they really cannot do that kind of thing with the angling and scheming. But what you can do is you can actually try to use the pump some iron shenanigans, where you play as a pacer, you get a very front-loaded lobby, and then you pump it. So it really just depends on what you expect to see in the lobby. If you want to gamble it, then just gamble it. It doesn't matter, right? If you expect some huge front lobbies, you can do that, and then after that, of course, if you can, go and pick up your head-on if you want, right? Let's use the typical gambling options of Redshift, Ryan's, Pump Some Iron, On Your Left, Furious Feet, whatever you can grab for gambling, whatever mid-leg speed carryovers you can gamble on, like corner stuff, all you just go and grab on your late surger, right? You can technically also grab No Stopping Me, but take note, it's a very low chance in this CM due to the corner, so I would recommend you to get Nimble Navigator instead if you are going for the cheaper version, so you can save that skill point to go and buy something else. But if you got now other gambling skills and you want to gamble on NSM, it's not a terrible option, but it's going to be very rare, right? But ultimately for late surger, if you just hit it one time in finals, you straight up win the game anyway, so who cares, right? Ends have a bad straightaway spurt, unfortunately, so you will probably run your end closers as a late surger. Don't talk about the end closers, honestly. The end closers are very bad on these tracks. Usually for mouse, we are going to see a lot of runs and a lot of lates, because people are lazy and they'll go for the late option because it requires very little investment to try and gamble a victory, right? For Exoguri in particular, if you want to go and make her in terms of getting the skills, is actually pretty easy. You just get Ignited Spirit Stamina, Hydrate, Preferred Position, Pure Heart. Anything with random gambling. If you want to -1 random gamble, feel free to just cut it down to 3 or so if you want, right? You just are praying for one of these random activators to activate at a good position, or if you take the painful front route, you will use Moxie as the only activator and you will grab 2 other recoveries. Do not grab 3, because Moxie is the only one that can activate to actually give you the proper carryover. If you gamble on the other stuff, you probably will not hit it. If you want to try and gamble it, then feel free to go and gamble whatever strategy you have in your head. I will not stop you, right? So for team comps over here, fronts are obviously the one to go and beat. Fronts are crazy strong, and Dirt has specifically Dirt fronts like Copano and Smart Falcon, right? So these horses later on are going to be the dominant ones in the meta. You just choose any 3 front runners that you can shove in here, run them, they will win a lot, I will show you. Really, they will win a lot. Falcon is very powerful to control that opening leg. The other front runners can just be there to try and fight the Falcon for the front, and if they get the front, they activate angling, they just win the game. The only way backliners win is through pure gambling, praying for every single gambling skill to trigger, praying for every single speed carryover to trigger, so that we are able to get our very awesome speed carryover plus Excel combo stacked onto each other, giving us massive acceleration, and that boost will help us to catch up with the fronts near the final leg, and that could help us to secure and catch up to those front gap, right? So that's how you are trying to win with your late surges. If you remember how your regular mouse CMs went, I want you to expect that. Vodka chasing you, beating you, Grass Wander chasing you, beating you, that is what happens in a mouse CM. Front runners being in front, they are very powerful. That is what happens in these kinds of CM. So expect that. For Dirt, it's just that Dirt has a very significant restriction of the Dirt Spark. So that is going to be all from me. Do not forget to download Raid Shadow Legends using the QR code or link in the description down below to get free bonuses via my link. And if you have any other questions, you can also go to the MooMooCows and ask for help. Or if you want me to help, you would have to go through the Ko-fi, the YouTube or Twitch streams, and I'll try my best to assist you. I do my best to try and assist a lot of you, but unfortunately there are hundreds of messages for me, so I really cannot try to help you, but I'll do my best. Alright, so thank you guys for watching, and thank you for all the support. I shall see you guys next time. Bye bye.